I'm Rick Murphy, CEO and founder of Cogent Growth Partners. If you're a technology services provider or an MSP thinking about growth, acquisitions, and how to achieve a realistic liquidity strategy or an eventual exit, this show's for you. This is Cogent Conversations.
I remember for our quarterly business, when I was an MSP, our quarterly business reviews, I would bring donuts. We'd have them in the morning. Then all of a sudden, the meetings got a little bigger and bigger because Joe's bringing the donuts. So it's good and bad because there's more people now we can contact. I have more points of contact, but I started bringing more donuts. What's that going to cost? An extra $4 or $5?
Well,
Is
exactly.
well worth it.
Exactly.
Well worth it.
It's worth every penny. I'll give a shout out to Fairy Tale Brownies if you want a good mail order version of one of the best brownies I've ever had in my life. Just saying, Fairy Tale Brownies. I think it's fairytale.com, actually.
It goes a long way.
Shout out to our new sponsor.
With code Rick at Cogent.
Yeah, Rick at cogentmergers.com. It's funny.
So let's talk about the solution to all this. Let's get it more sticky, tactics that actually get more stickiness to them. So what makes a client truly hard to replace?
A client hard to replace?
Yeah.
Or hard to keep?
Let's go with keep, and then later to replace. Because if it's hard to replace, you would want to keep them even more.
Well, let's go with that. Well, we can stick with the hard to replace one. So revenue and its impact, the services that you provide for the revenue that you're generating and the amount of services you have to deliver to do that, right? I mean, that's kind of how that secret sauce is made. Again, high touch, low touch, some sort of hybrid of, automated versus touch is a thing, still is a thing. AI is trying to touch all that, so I'm not even going to get into AI with that right now. I mean, again, we're starting to see more and more people dealing with AI, mainly as a assist. I think where AI is going to be really successful is assisting the human being. Again, we just talked about earlier, 12 of 12 customer calls on a company that knew they were being sold. Basically, they said they would stay. I was on those calls personally. Every one of them said, please do not replace humans with AI. We want to talk to humans. I don't want to talk to a robot. So that's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out. Having AI assist the human being, yay. We're recording this right now. I record all my phone calls I use Fathom, fathom.com. Next sponsor. So I like AI for note taking. I can talk with my hands now, and I don't have to worry about writing notes. I can talk with my hands, which I need to do, and I can pace around. And if I want to pace when I'm not on camera, and my note taker takes all the notes, and then we've got transcripts and all kinds of fun stuff. So I think that's going to be more and more interesting to see how that all sort of blends into the IT services universe. But making sure that you are doing net new hunting in the areas of those key customers, right? So you're finding other customers that look like them that are maybe even allied industries. And without getting vertical about the conversation, but let's say you're into healthcare IT. Well, healthcare IT has got a lot of different flavors. Ambulatory medical is the most prevalent, oncologist office, endocrine offices, general practices, things like that. Not hospital related IT, but those customers are very specific. I mean, you've got, do you just go after oncology offices all over the country? You could, if you're especially specialized in something, you deliver something that oncology offices need that is unique, which probably is true actually. Then finding other oncology offices and finding them as customers because you're really good at delivering services to oncology offices would be something to think about. And you kind of know what size they need to be. How many seats are you covering? Whether if you're a seat person or however you want to think about it. Everybody's mostly seats nowadays, right? devices and what have you. So, is it what size oncology office? Is it an oncology group? Is it multiple offices in the same city? Do they have multiple offices in different cities around the country? So being able to do what you do well and continue to do that with other people will help you sell those customers as well. Because, hey, we know how to deal with the oncology office. All the issues that you have to run through, Mr. Oncology Office Owner. And we know how to deal with those things and set up your back office and all the other things you need to do and deal with your ERP systems and EMR and all that stuff and EHA, and you can go down that path. And so if you take that as an analogy for an analog for anything else you would be doing, you might be into hospitality. You might be into all kinds of different things that you do well. So doing more of what you do well and finding out where those people live. And a lot of people kind of do that already. You're going to go to the trade shows that are the healthcare IT trade shows, the legal IT trade shows, whatever, and look for business and let other people know that you do those things well. But assuming it's not a verticalized business like that, you're just a horizontal company with a lot of horizontal customers, which is the most prevalent type of IT company out there right now, and still is, and probably will be will always be. Is, hey, here's the kind of customers we like dealing with. Find other people you like dealing with, because you're going to be more pleasant with those people. You're going to know what you're talking about. I've got a new SDR that started with us today. We've got 3 new SDRs coming to work for the company and for our outreach group. And one of the things we do is reach out and touch people and try to get people to talk with us and help us introduce them to our clients. But in talking with them, we're talking about knowing your material, right? You want to just learn your material and know your material. So once you know your material and you know what you do and you know what you do well, then it's easier to talk a great story to the next guy that doesn't know who you are and say, hey, we're really good at doing this stuff. We support manufacturing companies with this, this, and this. And, we did our research and we think you run these kind of systems, and here's your business processes you're running, and here's how you're currently working. And we wonder how you do with this. And we'd love to come in and do an assessment or, pick, our discovery call, because we have discovery calls too. You're going to have a discovery call and learn about them. However you found that, managed to dig up that potential lead. But I think, if you, again, take your top 20 customers, and if you wanted to take the customers that make up 80% of your revenue, and you could categorize them and start thinking who the top ones are in those different categories, and say, okay, let's go target more of these, because we like these people. We get them. They get us. We get them. We tend to be able to deliver really well to this particular type of company. And we can talk their talk, and they understand us, and we understand what they're talking about. And just the fact that you understand what they're talking about is going to make them want to talk to you. And that's how you replace them. That's how you grow that business. That's just straight sales 101 kind of stuff. But certainly in the IT services business, everybody has sort of their penchant. For some reason, sidebar to that story, people that do legal IT as a focus, they don't really like medical IT. And weirdly enough, the medical IP people that do it for a focus don't really like the legal IT. Never been able to put that together, frankly. I've actually asked people, they go, well, I don't know why. I won't get into esoterica, but I don't know why. They'll name some silly things, but they're both professional services companies. You have professional services stuff you do. In my book, they're kind of the same business-ish. Again, professional people doing professional things with professional tools. You've got HIPAA, you've got legal. They're very similar, but they're like oil and water. You don't really see guys that do both. Isn't that weird?
Yeah, it is odd the way they kind of segment off that way.
Yep.
They just got to treat them a little bit differently. We had a lot of architects, and we didn't pick our vertical. Our vertical kind of picked us.
Exactly. That's usually true, actually.
Yeah, because we had a couple, and then all of a sudden we got a lot more. And, they've got some certain software that they use that others don't use.
Because of what I just said, right? Exactly, right? They got this certain software they like to use. They like to they like to screw everything to the left, or, right? They're really neat.
yeah, and articulate and structured, and So, are there any services or integrations, Rick, you think that MSP should employ that lower, the probability of a client leaving or switching?
I think we've been talking about it. I'm not personally aware of, and I probably do some research even based on just what we talked about today. On, is there a real different answer to that question that's out there that I just haven't seen? I don't know. It would be my right now answer. I mean, I go to all the trade shows and look around and just shop and kind of try to learn stuff from different places. And I don't know that anybody's other than all the CRM people that you've got all this knowledge, you're armed with all this data, but it's like data. It's just data. It's not gut. And I think the gut is missing more than not. I think all these tools kind of get in the way of using your brain power. I could be wrong. I'm sure there's 100 people that would argue with that one and say, well, I'm sure there's an AI thing that I was just having a conversation with AI today about a project I'm working on. So, maybe someday that's going to change. Maybe it has changed already. I just haven't seen it. But I think it's just the tenacity and the thought process and the forethought to do something about it before it's a problem.
You mentioned trade shows. We see each other at, there's too many. I'm going to just say that right now. And there's all these vendors out there, so I mean,
yep.
How should MSPs be viewing them? Because again, they want to stay sticky with these clients, right? They want to stay there. They don't want them to leave. So how should they refresh and evolve their offerings?
Well, I think, in my opinion, and again, there's lots of opinions out there. Everybody has one, right? There's just lots and lots of tools.
Yeah.
And tools are just a tool. A tool isn't going to, chimpanzees use sticks to pick up termites.
We've seen this.
It is a tool. Yes. It is a primate using a tool. And so it's a stick. It's not fancy. It gets the job done. You poke the stick in the hole, the termites bite the wood, you pull out the wood, and they wipe the termites off, and they have lunch or a snack. Probably get more of a snack. And every tool is just a tool. I mean, it's what you do with it. What's the point of the tool? Tool people hate that question.
I know they do.
What's the point? Well,
yeah,
right? Yeah. Well, the point is it does this, and like, really, but what's the point? And they really hate that question. But you need to ask yourself, if you're going to try to make customers happy, do they even know they're happy? Do you even know if they are happy? There's lots of different versions of that. But having a new tool isn't going to necessarily make you sticky unless it's addictive in some interesting way, which it could be. So if you create, if you use a very addictive tool that's somehow addictive, yay, good for you. And rolling that out and getting people addicted to it, yay. But again, I think it's more about the human. That's where the human part comes in, right? Maybe AI can figure out how to create those kind of stickiness situations as well someday, maybe. But it's still a robot, right? And does it have a gut feeling that says I should do this? And here's the things I can predict. Here's the things we should do. Understanding a syncopated rhythm, for example, I'm not sure that would work properly. I mean, that's more of a gut feel than it is otherwise. So I just think that tools for tools' sake aren't the answer. I don't think. I think tools that you use and wield well, because I can add a new service. I can make my service stickier because this new tool does this interesting thing that you should probably take advantage of, Mr. Customer. That's worthwhile. I think that's extremely worthwhile, actually.
So to stay sticky, you can have these services, you can have these tools, you can have these integrations, but the most stickiest would be the relationship. Would you agree?
That's exactly right. That's the number one thing. Is the relationship sticky? And when's the last time you checked?
Right.
Don't make the assumption it's sticky just because it's been sticky. My client's been with me for 20 years. Okay. When's the last time you took them to dinner or whatever? Pick anything. You went over and brought them lunch or brought them some donuts, When's the last time you met with the team? Let them throw donuts at you, just here I am, sitting up on what's that? So the old throw the ball at the thing and the dunking thing.
That's right.
At the
sink,
fair, right?
Yeah, the sink. Yeah.
When's the last time you sat up there and let them throw at you? Because that's what they like. That's what they really want to do, right? That's what they really want. So give them the opportunity, and then you learn something. Give yourself some opportunity to learn something, and then you get. Unless you can't do anything about it. That's again if you don't ask the closing question, then you can't close. If you don't ask the inquiring question, you're not going to know. And again, it's not their job to tell you. It's your job to find out. So you need to be inquisitive. You need to turn up the question meter to 100. And this is partly selfish, this conversation also. It's like, well, I've seen all this stuff going on with key customers lately. It's a thing. And it's always with key customers that have been there. Usually the top customer has been your longest lived customer. So I can't wait to, I'm sorry this happened to one of my candidate companies. It's sad. And it's going to really hurt his business too, in his pocket. Like right now, it's not just about selling the company. It's going to hurt him in the pocket for sure. But I'll bet you $100, bet you $100 right now. He doesn't know why. Or it's going to be some weird excuse. Well, Bob left and then took the business with him. So it's going to be either some lame excuse like that, or he doesn't know. I'll bet you $100 that's true. This is Cogent Conversations.